Is that now live? Ah. So what happened is YouTube wouldn't actually let me stream to the first link for some reason. It just like full on does not work. I have no idea why. I don't really know what I'm doing with YouTube, so I don't really know what happened. The entire thing is fucked. But hey everyone, oh wow, it's nice to see you all. Wow, there's so many of you. Hi, welcome to my very first stream. So we're gonna cover some yeah, I'm pressing random keys, leave me alone. We're gonna cover like a mixture of stuff here. I'm gonna show a little bit of code analysis. I'm gonna show you some more API bugs, and it's really going to build on what we were doing last time, to really look at like different ways of hacking. So my video this week is going to be all about what kind of bugs exist in APIs, but this stream before you watch it is going to be way more about like testing out those bugs. So hey everyone, welcome. So there's going to be some audience participation, so be prepared to have a chat with me. And let me just get up my notes so I know which order I'm supposed to be doing things. So setup wise, I'm going to be using the vulnerable application that I showed in the previous API enumeration video, just because I already made that and that took me a long time to make. Yes, the stream is recorded. I'm recording it locally as well, not just like relying on YouTube, because don't trust YouTube. But yeah, so let's get started. So I'm going to start here with Burp Suite Community Edition and Firefox. Now I use Firefox because it's actually one of the easiest ways to kind of separate out your web browsing. It has quite good proxy control. But for me, it's because I don't use, I use Chrome and Safari usually. Let me put that there we go. So for anybody who watched the last video, you'll be familiar with Generic University, Lorem Ipsum, inspiring words. I'll be familiar with this setup. So here's what we're going to do. The first thing we're going to cover is we're going to sort of do a recap of API enumeration. You guys are going to tell me how to enumerate this API. How do we figure out what endpoints we have access to? Then I'm going to show you some bugs. So I'll show you some information disclosure, IDORs, and then we're going to be talking about some authorization and authentication issues. So I'm also going to get up the code here. What's inside of PhD it's on. And I'm going to show you why this code causes some bugs. To give you a kind of little bonus for showing up. Now this likely is going to be like literally less than an hour of content. After that you can go and watch my video on API enumeration, and then after that there's NahamCon. There we go. So everybody, how do we enumerate APIs? What is the easiest way to enumerate an API? What kind of words should we use? Let's get this started with what we're looking at here. So one said using FFUF. Yeah, that's a great way to do it. But if you see my API enumeration video, you're probably already familiar with the endpoints in this API. So given that, do you think it might be better to use FFUF or Burp Intruder? What kind of strikes your fancy here? Get up get up burp and then focus on. All I'm doing here is just showing only in scope items just to clear this up a little bit. So you don't see like all the random requests Firefox makes. That's a great question. How do you actually find an API in a website? The easiest way is to look for the word API. API, often you have this kind of defined structure. So you'll have /API /v1 /whatever. That's a really good way to see there's an API. Stream is being saved, yes. And, oh, raise my voice. Am I a bit too quiet? Sorry, I'm not very close to my microphone because it means I can't see my screen. So hopefully that looks okay. Cool, right. So we could use FFUF, but because I haven't got that demo set up, this is quality educational material. We can just use Burp Intruder. So does anyone want to kind of talk me through like how you would set up Burp Intruder for this? You can see the FFUF demo on the API enumeration video that I go into much more detail about how to use it and stuff. Although there is an issue with that I messed up one of the commands, so I'm going to have to do a redo of the FFUF demo with everybody's suggestions on how best to use it. Everyone likes FFUF. Fine, you know what? Doing it live, it's fine. Where did I put it? Oh, I put it in. I got this. Videos, API. Oh, it's in Recon. Alright, you guys want to see some FFUF? Let's do FFUF. Right, points to somebody who can tell me what the command is for FFUF to get it to enumerate. Yeah, send API users. Great. Wardle, points for you. So we'll send this to Intruder. And I'm going to ask for, because I'm going to need a word list for both. So tell me what we should test. So what API endpoints are we looking for? Do you want to do excellent to, who said that? Ignition Lab. Someone's been watching my videos. So we're going to need a list, a word list. And because we know that, quite frankly, the other API... Yeah, I can see someone spamming chat. I didn't want to give them attention. I gave them a timeout. Quality. Right, I know what I'm doing. Users, yep, users. We're going for API users. We're going to give it little simoleon marks. But can people please send what you think would be good API endpoints to test for? Now we know that generic university here, it's a university and we can see, you know, view our grades. So when we write our own word list, we should be thinking, okay, what is this likely to have? Now we could go ahead and use something like sec lists. The problem with sec lists is that often API endpoints are really specific to a target. So we are going to be looking at, looking for stuff like admin. However, you know, our thing might not have /admin, and that really means we're at a disadvantage because we can't access that. Yeah, class is great. Great API. I'm actually going to do this in a little notepad. Notepad++, not Notepad++. I want boring notepad. Yeah, nouns are great actually. Any kind of nouns. Class, classes, grades, students. We got students again. We'll go admin here because admin is always something worth checking for, even if we don't find anything. Marks, love it. We'll go university as well. University. I can spell words. Universities. Just the best way to find a hidden API is going to be to hit every button, and hopefully you hit one, or search for literally /API and see if there's anything in there. Subjects, teachers, gradebook. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Oh, gradebook. Okay, so this is going to be our enumeration. So we'll sit here and we'll go into Intruder. So we've got our target is our website here. Our positions, we put the little simoleon sign under users. And then we've got payloads here. So this is where we want to put in whatever payloads we'll have. So we want to go copy these and just go paste. And because I'm lazy, you can do this with seclists as well. If you go to seclists, raw, you can just copy and paste it and you don't need to download it. Just especially if you're doing YouTube videos and you might accidentally load up like confidential files. So we'll start the attack. I just got to check this is going to be visible actually. Okay, cool. And we can see that Intruder is hitting all the API endpoints and we're getting a mixture of 404s and 200s. Now, 404s mean that it doesn't exist. So we can safely say if we see /404, it doesn't exist, right? We might actually want to look for it without the 6 as well. So what we're seeing here is we're seeing classes and grades exist, but actually none of these other ones do. Oh, and nothing exists as well. That's just our regular users. Yeah, so we also want to test it with /1. So to do that, we clear, that was by Neolex, yeah. So we'll add our little simoleon sign there, go to payloads. We can change our payload here to be numbers. And we can do numbers from 1 to 20 in a step of 1. And that will then do the attack testing for different IDs. Now, we can also do another attack. So we can go in here, go to positions, clear that, and do our first attack with just API users and not anything next to it. Now, in the RESTful kind of API endpoints, we see a kind of /, then we see resource name. And the root of that, where it's not got a number at the end, often returns everything in that. So we'll do that as well. So we'll go to API users, we'll go to payloads, we'll go to our simple list at the top, and we'll do this attack again. And this is quite often what you end up doing with API enumeration, is that you end up kind of doing a bunch of these different intruder attacks or using FFUF as you learn more about how an application is built. There's a chance that YouTube, the website is showing a custom status code, pretty rare. API paths, singular or plural. So it can be either way. A lot of the kind of paths for APIs specifically tend to be designed by a developer. So quite often it will be whatever the developer put in. I think I do mine plural because in Laravel you do your you do it by whatever it is. Oh yeah, the HTTP. Yeah, you call them admin controllers and stuff. Class controller, dashboard controller, grade controller, and every single time you reference it is with like a singular. So if you have multiple, you won't reference double. Don't know. It's my style thing. Yes, you can use the cluster bomb example as well to answer that queue. And yes, this is going to be saved on YouTube. Maybe I should add like a little thing on the bottom that says yes, this will be saved to YouTube. So we've got all of that. Now, what we do when we do API enumeration is we want to hunt for bugs. because just doing API enumeration is not necessarily going to find us bugs. So we'll have a look at this, and do you think that a list of users is this kind of email and name, do you think that returns, that would be counted as information disclosure? Just your own kind of opinion here. Do you think that's worth reporting, or do you think we should wait until we find something more interesting? I'm gonna tidy that up so you can actually see my little... See, I worked so hard on this little layout for YouTube. You're all the way down there. Perfect. Now it's even worse. No, you should wait. Yeah. So a lot of the time when you see emails don't necessarily count as information disclosure. If it's not disclosing, was it in true chat? Yeah, 3. If it's not disclosing any kind of personal information. Now, an email address is often considered public nowadays, and we're not seeing anything in there that suggests a password. So we really should kind of sit on this for the moment, because we can find more impact. Bishal is completely correct. There's actually, if we know that this API endpoint is not that protected, let's go deeper. What else can we find? Let's not stop at reporting, you know, a low risk vulnerability. Let's go deeper. So what about this one? So this is a list of grades, and we can see the user ID and class ID and the grade they got and some comments. Is that going to be information disclosure, do you think? Excellent observation, Wardle, with realizing role might be an endpoint. If we see role ID, we should definitely also be checking for role. And we can do that by just sending that to repeater, going here, role, with an S. There we go. So I would say personally that if you see something like grades, that would be kind of information disclosure, because really knowing somebody else's grade is pretty bad, right? It's maybe not really vulnerable, like really, really bad, but it's pretty bad. Like there's a lot you can do with someone else's grade. But let's go deeper. What else can we do with an API? We can get the information out. What else can we do? So if we look at our CRUD functionality, create, read, update, delete, that our API can do. We're on read at the moment. So what else can we do? What can we do that's a bit more interesting? Now this is our endpoint. Again, I've just put it in repeater to make it easier to see. IDOR, yeah, but what kind of IDOR? Like, when we think about bugs, it's good to use the bug class name, but actually it's better when we communicate with, especially like the people running a bug bounty program, to sort of talk in their language and be like, actually this is an IDOR, but more importantly, it allows us to do this to your business logic. Delete, yeah, Mohammed is completely correct. We could try and delete them. What might be a little bit more fun though? Yeah, edit. Yeah, let's try and change a grade. So we're on here, we've got to API grades, and we're just going to set up editing a grade. Now, what we don't really necessarily know is how we need to set up editing a grade, because we don't know what it needs inside of it. I'm so used to using a Mac, I keep on pressing Alt on my Windows PC instead of Control to paste things. So I put request instead of a get request. Oh, that's a great idea to use options. So yeah, Ignition Lab, put definitely correct. And we'll put in, so we could try and sit here and try and put in a bunch of different payloads. We could use Arjun to find out, okay, what can we do? What do we have access to change? But actually, it's quite straightforward to just go in here, say, it's sending us JSON, we'll send it JSON back. So we'll go here, we'll put in content type JSON. That's really important when you're interacting with a JSON based API. You can't send JSON unless you tell it the content type is JSON. And it's really easy to miss. And I've lost bugs because I haven't done that. So we're going to set this to a specific ID. Let's go ID 1. And all we want to put here is a very simple little JSON object. Same format as they have it. Wow, I cannot hit. Grade 12. And then we'll send this ID. And we can see here, we've got grade 12. Now I put in the same one. Let's go 120. And we can see that the grade is being updated. So that's great. Now we can edit a grade. Now what class of bug would this be? Does anyone want to tell me? Bonus points if you can give me the blue team name for it. I'll give you extra brownie points, I guess. I don't really have anything of value to give. And I'll show you what code actually causes this and why it happens. Because one thing that's really cool, especially as you become a bit more experienced, is to be able to read code and figure out you can do this without even deploying an application. Yep, Hema is correct. It's an IDOR. Now, specifically, it's an unauthenticated IDOR. We haven't got an account on here. Neolex is correct. Mohammed, you're also correct. So this might also be considered using mass assignment, because should grade be able to be edited by the API? We don't really know. So, okay, why does this happen? What happens here? Now, the way my code is set up here is I have these controllers. Now, if you're not really familiar with web development, don't worry too much, because basically all these do is contain code. Now, if we look here into grade controller, and I scroll down here, we can actually see that in here we don't have any kind of if statements to check if the user has permission to access something. We kind of have this default code. If we look here, we can see that actually if we update it, as long as the resource exists, then we don't have an if statement here. And to fix that bug, all you'd need is an if statement here. And this is why IDORs are like ridiculously, one, kind of silly that they exist, because all you need to do is put an if statement on line 34 covering to line 39. And actually this looks like a lot of default code. And when you deal with default code, you really need to not do that. You really need to, instead of doing kind of default stuff, you need to be looking and checking what it does. So that's one kind of way. Now, one thing we did see is we saw here /admin. And what we get if we go to /admin from our earlier recon activities is we get the term unauthenticated. Now, can anyone tell me what the difference between authentication and authorization is? If anybody knows. Don't worry if you don't know, but if you do know, please do share it with everybody else. You have to put in the content type, Mohammed, because if you don't, Laravel won't accept it, because it won't accept any JSON data. It doesn't include the header for content type. I know this because I spent so long thinking this API didn't work and completely forgot to add the content type header in. And no joke, it took me maybe 4 hours before I realized my API was actually working when I was developing this. I'm a bit of an idiot sometimes. Excellent answer. Oh god. Nishith? Yeah, sure. Nishith is, I've got a great answer there. Authentication is who you are, authorization is what you can do. So if this says unauthenticated, we're going to be looking at creating an account. Because actually, if we create an account, we might actually have access to this resource because we're not unauthorized to do it, right? We're actually unauthenticated. So how do you think we can create an account? Or access somebody else's account? I'm kind of curious. There's a few methods of how to do this. So I just want to kind of, what ideas do you folks have? If we go to login, that won't work because it's a saved thing from an earlier test. We have an email address, a password, the URL is -login. We've got login, forget your password. You guys have excellent answers to this. You folks are brilliant. Oh yes, security? I'm going for that. Is correct. The first thing we should be checking, just because we can't see a button that says register doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So you can go /register. And would you look at that? No one actually hid it. Seon's got another good one, which is account takeover. So does anyone have an idea of how you might do an account takeover with what we already have? I'll explain it anyway, but while I sort of register an account, if anyone has any ideas about how to do it. So I'm going to make an account here. Test. We'll make the password really secure. PASSWORD. No one will get that password. Great, so we have our account now. And if we go back to, we know that admin exists, so I'm just going to go back to users. Here. Yeah, forgot password, absolutely. Now, one of the kind of main ways to get an account takeover is really to abuse the forgot password mechanic. Because a lot of the times with stuff like APIs, if you change the password, it might not actually put the password through the password algorithm. So really, actually, we could try one of these passwords or these emails we know exist, put that in forgotten password, and then see if we can get it back. Another method is we can actually change their email address to us, to our email address, and then get their password back. Now that's a bunch of different ways you can do it. It's not necessarily always going to be that particular account takeover, but this is a great way of thinking about how we might do this. Right, so we have an account. Let's see if we can access /admin now. Oh, secretary, you're on a roll here. You're gonna get into my thing before I get to it. So if we press send, we'll say unauthenticated. Why is this saying unauthenticated? What have we missed here? And you're absolutely correct. Yeah, mass assignment. One of the big risks is going to be the fact that we know that we can edit grade here. Can we also edit all of these other ones? If we use something like Arjun, we're going to be capturing everything we can access. And I actually have, I will share with the class. Here, this is a result from Arjun on this database. So we can see on the user's endpoint. So we can see we've got email, method, name, and password are all we're able to are legitimate parameters. So one approach would be then to go change the email, forgotten password. You don't even need to be capturing tokens. You just change the password, or get the changed password and then change it, right? Okay, does anyone... Yes, the video will be available. Don't worry about the video not being available. It's fine. You're okay. So I don't see anybody saying why this request didn't work. I don't know if that's just because I'm far behind. I think I might be. So the reason why this doesn't work is because we haven't actually changed the cookie here. All we've done is use the pre-existing cookie, and this is not the authenticated cookie. So if we go here to our proxy HTTP history, we can see here that's the new cookie there when we register. And as opposed to, I don't tend to use the target tab and use the sitemap very often. I tend to mainly focus on using this because it goes via time rather than via like how stuff is set up. So we'll go in here, we'll go to send to repeater, and then we'll go /API/admin. Oh, people are then, yeah, validating the cookie. Excellent job, everybody. So we've got it right. So what we're looking at here is the difference between authorization and authentication. All we had to do was create an account to be able to see the admin. So what code really causes this is we go in here, we go into, which one is this? Which endpoint? Oh, it's admin, yeah. Admin controller. And we can see here, there's still no check for if we have the right role for this. Now, one of the big things that we kind of come across when we're bug hunting is that we can't actually see the code. But often code is written in a really lazy way, because what this person has done to get the unauthenticated error is we go into, I know a lot of people aren't going to be necessarily familiar with Laravel to be able to fully appreciate how amazing my programming is. But here we can see that the admin roots have been given middleware auth. It's not checking if we have permission, it's just checking that we have an account. So that's the code that causes this. Now we can see here that this is giving us some documentation, and we should always be paying attention to a website or a target when it gives us information, because it's giving us free information. We don't have to do recon, we don't have to stress out, we've got it. So because we're fantastic people, we see the endpoint delete. So we're going to go /delete. And we'll press send, and it says permission required. Now, this is our authorization. Now, we have a role, we don't have the correct role. We're a lower level user and we don't have permission to access high level functionality. So a lot of people are saying role ID. That's what we need to change. You know, if we want to access this, we have to change our role ID. How do you think we do that? Let's just, the cookies are the default Laravel ones. I haven't done anything to these. They might be base64 encoded. I'll check. Yes, they are base64 encoded. There's your answer, Seon. Good spot though. I didn't even know, so better eyes and better like nose for bug hunting than I do apparently. Alright, we're looking at repeater, yeah. Yeah, so Mohammed's correct. We want to go into our users here and we want to see if we can edit our own user ID. So we'll do another request here. And we'll go here and we can see we're ID 8. So we'll go users 8. And we know that this should already work because users 6 works, so users 8 must also work. And we can see it works. So again, we're going to do our put here. Content type application JSON, and I can't type it, so it's in my notes. And we're going to go here, and the same thing, we're just going to go role ID. How do we know which role ID to change it to? What do you folks think? How do we know if role ID 1 is always going to be the admin account? How do we know it's not role ID 3, 4, 5, 6? I'm just going to pop video will yeah, Note Junkie is correct. The best way to check this is really just going to be API roles and see what's in there, right? the idea of using a RESTful API is we actually learn a lot about what's inside of like the API just by asking for it. So yeah, we'll go change to role ID 1 because that's telling us that's administrator account. We don't see super admin, we don't see like IT. Sometimes you won't necessarily see admin. But yeah, role ID 1. So if we change this, we can see that now ID 8 has role ID 1, which means that we've gone from being a regular user to an administrator. That's great, right? We've got that kind of privilege escalation now. So we go back to our original kind of admin endpoint here. Where'd it go? Which one was it? Oh no. Oh, there it is, yeah. So this is our permission required endpoint. Can we delete everything? Does anyone want me to delete everything? What do you folks think? Do we ruin Mr. Oh, who's the IT guy? Devon Parison's lovely under construction GeoCities website? What do you think? Death to the website? I'm sorry for the long pauses of silence. I know I can name the tabs. Trust me, this is exactly how I hack normally. It's a lot of tab 1 to 64. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. You know, saying Pierrick, if we're bug hunting, we never want to do something like that, ever. Now, one of the reasons why we don't is because that's really bad. We don't want to delete some poor sod's database, right? As much as our hacker instincts like, burn it to the ground, it's dead to me, I love that energy. Actually, really, what we'd kind of want to be looking at is saying we'd then report it. At this point, we'd report it and say, look, I can see this endpoint. Don't touch it if it's going to destroy the website. Because you won't get a bounty for that. You'll get someone on the other end that's got a really big sad face. Especially as I think this endpoint says it's unrecoverable. But because we're not playing good hackers today, we're going to delete the entire database because why not? So the database is gone, it's deleted. We can now go back to users here. Change that to get. I did not put enough space after that. Okay. We can see that the only user exists that is us, and everybody else is gone. He-chan is completely correct. We would, if we wanted to test functionality like that, we'd really be looking not for the delete all button, but perhaps creating another account and deleting your second account. You never want to be pressing buttons that's like delete everything. And because we're good people, we're going to do admin restore to bring the database back from the dead. And we can see here that we now have all these other users. So, well, what have we actually demonstrated in this kind of demo? The first thing we've demonstrated is information disclosure. We've also demonstrated IDORs. We've got a permission IDOR, where we're looking at being authenticated as a user, but not authorized to do it. We've then got, we're then looking at privilege escalation, being able to take our user account from a regular user to an administrator. And that's all in a kind of, they're all bundled together. We don't see these kind of distinct lines of this is a bug and this is not a bug. So that's really the end of the demo. I'm just going to answer the questions in the chat. So Pierrick and Raoul asked the same thing, which is really, how do we know that we can actually delete everything without trying it? You usually wouldn't delete everything, okay? The reason why is because you would see that and panic. What you would do is you'd report that by just saying, look, I can see that endpoint. if it doesn't do anything, it's turned off. You will usually just get asked to like self-close something without kind of getting any hits your like reputation on HackerOne or BugCrowd. If you communicate directly with a program as well, you see anything that says delete all. If you're not sure what it does, don't press it. There's ways of doing the impact where you communicate with a team. Bishul asks, a put method is really rare. You are absolutely correct. It's very rare to see put used anywhere because put requests tend to be defaults for a lot of APIs. And in fact, the way Laravel implements them, if I could do this quite quickly for you, I don't think I have the example one. That's fine. Is we can actually post to API users 9. We can put a post request here, and as long as we have method or underscore method, sorry. Name equals blah 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 blah. Oh, it has to be ID, doesn't it? And ID equals 9. No, it doesn't like that. But on Laravel, you can use a method to get a put request in, which is how you would do it on a web form. Yeah, how would you test delete? That's a really good question. Make a second account. Like, if you're not sure about something, just make a second account. Never test accounts you don't own. Do I have anything in the pipeline for doing fuzzing techniques via Postman? So nothing about Postman, because I think Postman is a little bit complex for what I want to demonstrate on my YouTube channel. I do use it, but actually, surprisingly enough, mainly for web development and hitting API endpoints when I can't actually see them. However, I do have a piece of research in the works about doing API enumeration and doing like smart API enumeration. So don't tell anyone. All however many there are 137 of you. Wow. That's a lot of you, huh? Yes, it will be on YouTube. Don't worry. We're all good. There's some cool stuff coming. I'm hopefully going to have it done in the next few weeks. But it's some machine learning stuff. It's going to be really exciting. I'm looking forward to sharing it with everybody, especially because it'll be the first kind of thing I release that's outside of the kind of beginner sphere and more towards experienced researchers. But I'm hopefully going to release it soon. Do you recommend Argent over Param Miner? You can use whichever one you like. I'm never going to tell you what you can and can't do. You can always do whatever you like. If you use Param Miner and you like it more, just use it. There's nothing that says one is better than the other. I used both and I decided that I preferred Argent because I thought it's written in Python. I know Python. I can change it. I can make adjustments to it. I'm happy with that. If you prefer Param Miner, it's fine. Try both. That's my recommendation. Is it this one? I think I have it on my my main hacking laptop. I don't think I have Param Miner installed. No, I don't. Oh, one really fun thing is that actually on this application, I didn't include it in this demo, but it's possible to do an SSRF on it as well. I'm not telling you anything about my tool. I'm not sure when it's going to come out or how it's going to work 100% yet, but it will be doing some lovely API enumeration, especially for RESTful APIs that we don't necessarily know all the endpoints for. Thank you very much for your comment, Basil. I really appreciate. A lot of people it's really difficult to make YouTube videos, I'm going to be honest. If you want to make YouTube videos, you go right ahead. It's hard work making YouTube videos, okay? But hearing comments like, this really helped me, this was really useful, I really like this, it gives me like the motivation to do this, even though it's hard, it takes up a lot of my time. And it makes me feel like actually I'm contributing to something really great to this community. I will be watching the HamCon, keep an eye on me in chat. I'm going to catch it as soon as it starts, hopefully. I'm really looking forward to Tom Nom Nom's talk on word lists. And I'm also really excited for Sam's talk on the game, like hacking online games. Really excited about that one. So if you see me in the chat, do say hi. Please don't ask me any questions because it's not my conference. Oh yeah, I'm really happy that I was able to get sponsored for my video because it means that I've been able to invest in the audio setup. So I have like a proper microphone now and the audio sounds so good. Like I can't tell you, I couldn't listen to my own recordings when I was doing the like USB microphone stuff because I just sounded so weird. But actually with the decent one, it sounds pretty good. Yeah, 1 hour for NahamCon. The fix for the idle bugs, let me show you that. The real fix for it is in the controllers here. HTTP controllers. If we look at admin controller, we can see here, I'm literally just checking the authenticated user has the role ID of 1. I don't have time to do SSRF at the moment. There is a SSRF bug in this, so if you find it, and actually if you find it in my, if you deploy my application and you find it, and you tell me how to do it, I will give you a prize if you want to give it a go. If you can tell me how to do the SSRF. So I'm going to call it there, folks, because I want you to have time. My video is out in 10 minutes. It's about the top 10 API bugs. We're going to go over some of the ones I went through on this, but also some other ones. So please do watch that if you'd like to watch it. And, you know, NahamCon is in an hour. Do watch that as well. There's some really good talks. I 100% advocate, even if you don't understand something, to still watch it. And kind of understand, not necessarily like fully be able to appreciate what's happening, but be able to understand kind of what's happening and what you can do. So thank you very much for watching my stream. This went really well, so I'll probably do more of these. It'll be great to do some online labs with you guys and really do the kind of interaction where you can help me hack something. I'm also really hoping to do some actual live hacking, but I'm still trying to figure out how to do that without breaking confidentiality. Whether that's like full face cam all the time, whether that's like second screen